Welcome to the third Google Air Hangout, SEO and Social, part of a guest speaker series at the Eisenberg School of Management for the Social Media Marketing Blended MBA class, 697 SM. I'm very excited to introduce our guest, Rob Laporte, today. Rob is the founder of Disc Web Marketing Company. He has over 20 years of experience in marketing, digital and traditional, and has been an academic researcher and teacher of Renaissance literature at UMass, and is also a martial arts practitioner for 30 years. I'm Shalini Behel, the instructor for this class. I'm also a mindfulness and personal branding consultant. I'm particularly interested in today's Hangout because as much as I know about social media, there's very little I know about search engine optimization. So I can't wait to learn more. Well, welcome, Rob.
Well, thank you. Yeah, at the recent Halloween party, I dressed up as Chuck Norris, and which meant that I didn't have to dress up in everything, and people thought that's who I was. So that's so much for my martial arts. Glad it went to some use. Anyway, I'm going to switch to so that you can see my presentation, which will be a little small but still readable. And 1 second.
So while you pull that up, Rob, maybe I can just share a few things about what we're going to be doing today. So we're talking about search engine optimization and social media and what is the intersection of that. Many of you are starting out with social media. Many of you are very experienced with social media. And one piece that's not talked enough, at least from my experience, is how to optimize our websites and our blogs so that the awesome content that we're putting out there actually does get found by the search engines. So I'm super excited about learning more about how to do this part of our social media strategy, right? The way we're going to go about today is Rob is he has a presentation, so he'll present that for about half an hour or so. If you have any questions, please, you can start using the chat function that you have on the right-hand side. Start posting your questions there, and halfway through, once he's made the presentation, we'll have an opportunity. I'll unmute everybody and you can ask your questions. All right, let's do this.
Okay, we're going to go very quickly through a bunch of slides, and it's just going to demand a lot of attention. One of the problems with PowerPoint presentations is that I can end up speaking what's also written, so it's a little bit redundant, but I wanted to make sure that everything that I planned to communicate was in writing in the slides. In fact, the slides will have more than I'll cover in this Hangout. That way you have something to refer back to. So we're going to fly through most of these slides, and I just invite you to focus for a half an hour, even if it's a little intense, but hopefully the discussion will then help us to bring it all to bear. Okay, you get the big picture and trends more than particular tactics which change quickly. I'll go into more about search marketing than social marketing simply because most of you already know a lot about, if not use, social media. The format is, again, half lecture, half discussion, and I'll list a few good online resources at the end. We'll discuss my background, the overview of social marketing, overview of search marketing, why search marketing, very important topic, the hard freakonomics of web marketing, the parts of search marketing, intersections of search and social, beware of the hype, linking and PageRank in search and social, the rise of Google+, major trends, resources, and then Q&A and discussion. My background, briefly, I worked in advertising and marketing in the 80s, PhD work and teaching in the 90s, founded this company, Disc, in 95, specializing in search marketing in 97. We have many clients over 16 years. I'm the most published author in one of the, if not the top magazine in our field. And I prefer enduring research and articles over chatty social media, but that's just me. and social sharing is important. Okay, the overview of social. Most of you know what social media is because you use it and you're taking this class. So that's all I'm going to say about the overview of social. I really want to focus on search, which you may know less about. SEM, search engine marketing, or more eloquently, search marketing, consists of marketing a website in search engines, typically via search engine optimization, or SEO, which addresses search engine-friendly code, keyword research, and keyword writing in websites, managing pay-per-click, PPC advertising, other paid placement like Google Shopping and other shopping comparison sites, and display ads, image or video on non-search engine websites, where ads are triggered by the keywords and topics on the web page. And increasingly, search engine marketing includes conversion rate optimization, or landing page optimization, and ROI projection and tracking, return on investment projection and tracking. Incidentally, some people refer SEM, make SEM refer only to paid advertising, and some just refer to all search marketing. That term's a little nebulous in the field. So why search engine marketing? Well, it works often really, really well, especially in the past before everyone caught on, but there's still plenty of low-hanging fruit to pick. Let's take a quick look at Google versus General Electric to drive home just how important search marketing is. GE is an S&P 100 pre-web business. They make massive energy systems and turbines and jet engines, locomotions, wind energy, solar energy, hugely expensive machinery for industry, hugely expensive medical equipment, homeland security, and of course light bulbs and countless consumer goods, small medical equipment, and toasters and appliances, although they just sold that division. They are in over 100 companies in the world. They're intensely into capital. They got into trouble during the financial crisis, but they have a huge banking arm. And their market capitalization is about $248 billion. That's the worth of the company, and it's about 126 years old. GE is. Google is the market capitalization is $290 billion. That's about 15% more than GE, and it's only 12 years old. That tells you how massive Google is. Now, one thing I should tell you is that 95% of all of Google's revenue comes from those little ads that you see, not the main listings, but just the paid listings, which are roughly 15% of all clicks. And that makes Google worth more than a huge, over 100-year-old industrial giant. If SEM didn't work, Google wouldn't be so huge. I have some items in this slide that back up, the importance of Google. I'm going to skip it for now. It may be worth your going back to. Now, this is one of the most important topics that I want you to understand about SEO and all search marketing. It concerns the hard freakonomics of SEO. It's kind of near a title of an article I recently published, which I'll link to. Essentially, imagine this, that a business has 1,000 potential competitors for their keywords, not necessarily directly competing businesses, but websites which use the keywords that that business wants to rank highly for in search engines. Let's say there's 1,000 of those websites, and only 1% of them invest sufficiently in search engine optimization. That means the company now has a 100% increase in competition. Why is that? Well, 1,000 competitors times 1% is 10, and essentially there's only top 10 results in the search engines. Now, that's a little simplified in several respects, but the general principle applies to the real world. This is a freakonomic fact that has huge implications for the affordability of search engine marketing for small businesses. Ever larger small businesses and even medium-sized businesses can't afford to do this stuff right, and it's a problem. There's other factors related to the economics of search engine marketing and of SEO. There's too many hucksters and incompetence in consulting. There's no equivalent to the AMA or the ABA, American Medical Association, to qualified people. The complexity is too much to master unless it's your full-time job, and even then it's really hard to master. It's more complicated than the legal profession, but not as complicated as the medical profession. By the way, it just occurred to me I should have defined search engine optimization. That's just about getting websites into the non-paid parts of the search engines like Google. And then search engine marketing also includes the paid ads. Hope you understand. Both of those things are big, big industries now, and my firm does both. It takes a lot of time to learn enough to choose a consultant or an SEM firm. SEM changes weekly. Google alters its ranking algorithm about 500 times per year. That's more than once per day. And some changes, like the recent Panda and Penguin updates, have ruined millions of dollars of past shady SEM work and many businesses. This whole bit about the heart for economics, I have a link to it there in Visibility magazine, which is both print and online. Okay, the 7 parts of search engine optimization. Again, search engine optimization is about getting into the free, non-paid parts of the search engines. I'm going to discuss these pretty quickly now, and then I'm going to fly through a bunch of slides. In fact, I'm going to just, well, yeah. Now, this slide, that you're seeing has these 7 parts, and following this is a lot of detail that, again, I'm going to bypass, but you can go back to later. Here are the 7 parts of search engine optimization, SEO. Technical SEO pertains to blockages on the level of the server and deep code of websites. CMS and database SEO, CMS stands for Content Management System. CMS and database SEO, or CMS SEO, pertains to proactive SEO tactics built into content management systems. Keyword research and SEO copywriting, essentially researching those phrases which people are searching for the most and preferably for which there is the least competition, and using those phrases in the writing of web pages. That's a core SEO attribute of SEO, although I should say there are big problems with keyword research now, and many of the tools, including Google's, are not good, frankly. That's just summarizes it. You can use them, but you have to know how to use several and combine their data to get decent data. Then there's link marketing, which is about getting other good websites that are relevant to your business or website to link to you. That increases your search engine positions and traffic. Local and map SEO is increasingly important, especially for small businesses or for businesses with chains all over the place. And that's just about making sure that when people do a search in Google Maps or on their smartphone maps or even in regular Google or other search engine, the regular listings, you'll often see maps and local results come up separately. And this is a discipline in its own right and very important for businesses of all kinds. ROI reporting, if it's worth doing, it's worth measuring. And this is the most overlooked part of search marketing by small, medium-sized businesses. This shouldn't all be underlined, but conversion rate optimization, CRO, or landing page optimization, LPO, are increasingly standard parts of search marketing work. There's the 2 best books for people to read. So those are the principal parts of SEO. And I am now, we can go back to this if you have questions. I'm going to bypass a bunch of slides right now. It'll take a second to refresh on the screen here. And talk about other parts of search marketing. I definitely want to leave enough time for Q&A and discussion. It's going to get a little, okay, paid placement, like PPC or pay-per-click. Now, unlike SEO, this is that part of search marketing which concerns buying ads in Google and in the other search engines. I use the term Google to refer to all the search engines for brevity's sake. So this is about buying those ads. I hope you know what I mean, that you see along the top of Google results pages and along the right side. And it's huge and growing. Now, with pay-per-click, you can't do it halfway, except for AdWords Express, which is a very simplified and not always that effective method for very small businesses. You've heard of the 80-20 rule. In pay-per-click, it's the reverse of the 80-20 rule. The final 20% of expert time invested in managing pay-per-click or paid placement delivers 80% of the value. I can explain that further, but it's a very important thing to understand. Most of Google's profits come from many people not doing quite enough and throwing a lot of money away because it's a bidding platform, and everyone bids on the easy stuff, bidding it way up and costing more rather than taking the time and expertise to find the really fruitful bids, that is, keyword searches that produce the ads that come up in the Google results. I discussed that, I just mentioned that. So putting a toe in the water means you will do what everyone else has bidded up to the most expensive clicks. And I've got a few other target tactics here. Paid placement requires talented, long experienced professional help. Even the full-time pros are finding it difficult to keep up with the most profitable tactics. Remember that PPC is largely a bidding platform. Your competition shares your reluctance to spend, creating opportunity for you. Fortune favors the bold. Okay, a little humorous break here. Give you a moment to read this. What this kind of joking comic refers to in this context is actually you can do a lot of harm, or a semi-professional can do a lot of damage in pay-per-click, in search marketing, both SEO and pay-per-click. If they don't know what they're doing, it can cause, increasingly Google has more rules that websites must obey, and breaking those rules has ever greater consequences. All right, we're about 15 minutes through. I think we're on time. Okay, the intersections of search and social. All marketing is search in one form or another, if you think about it. In social, you search for friends, activities, reviews of restaurants or products. It's still search. Increasingly, search engines rank websites according to the amount of social signals pointing to the website. This trend will increase to a point, but remember that nearly half of Americans think the Earth is under 10,000 years old, so search engines won't let group likes determine all ranking in search engines. SoloMo, or social, local, mobile, all three parts are growing rapidly and synergizing and amplifying one another and contributing to search engine position. The more social you have, the better your search rank. Social activities related to a website will impact search ranking either directly or indirectly. Okay, I see a bunch of questions coming in. I'll get to those later. All right, beware the hype. All web marketing channels, especially social media marketing, are subject to huge hype. Journalists and tons of bloggers who want their content to rank in search engines produce scads with big, bold headlines and quotes really important content. Social media firms hire PR agencies to pump up their importance, their stock prices, or their IPOs. Web marketing firms hype social media services they sell. This kind of hype is echoed and amplified by countless bloggers. Misinformation can be echoed. Social marketing takes lots of time, and that cost must be compared to the costs and returns of other marketing channels. Let's take a look at search versus social return on investment. This is a statistic from January 2013 about holiday e-commerce traffic sources. As you can see, social is 2% and search is 34%, 17 times what social delivered to e-commerce sites. And there's a similarly dramatic statistic I didn't include here about what actually led to sales, and in that statistic, it's even more dramatic. Search engines do much more than social sites. That'll change somewhat over time, but let's put it in perspective right now. Okay, this is important. This is PageRank Visualized. PageRank is the foundation of Google. It is what made Google really work well in its beginning years and continue to work well. All the other search engines use the PageRank method. PageRank is a pun. It does pertain to the ranking of pages in the search engines, but it also pertains to one of the co-founders of Google, whose name was Larry Page, and who came up with this system along with his coworker to help rank websites. And that system is illustrated here. Take a look at the big yellow circle. That's the biggest because it has the most of these circles are websites, okay? That big yellow one is big because it has the most PageRank, the most search engine trust and perceived authority, perceived by the search engine's algorithms. The reason it's the biggest is because tons of people are pointing to it. Those points are links into that website. Now notice the fairly large red one to the right or left, depending on your screen, but next to the yellow circle, it's pretty big. It has only one incoming link to it, yet it's pretty big. Why? Because the big yellow website that has a lot of authority and a lot of trust because of its incoming links, that one link to the red one is making that red one have good PageRank. So I'm not going to go further here, but basically this is the foundation initially of what made Google great. All the other search engines do it. You can imagine PageRank as liquid gold in a way that's poured into the home page and filters out throughout all the pages, getting diluted, but filters out through all the pages of a website. It's very important, but it's only one of many variables in the ranking of search engines. It's still crucial. Well, it's still crucial to understand is the upshot, and I've got to hurry on. So the more social, the better your search engine rank. Social activities will impact search ranking either directly or indirectly. They do so directly by passing PageRank. By a tweet or let's say a Facebook page has a link to a website, and that can pass PageRank. That PageRank I just described, and that helps the website rank well. So it can pass it directly via PageRank, but most links in social media sites don't pass PageRank. They have other indirect benefits. There's an indirect boost to search engine ranking despite no PageRank flow. And how that works is kind of complicated, but just trust me that even if PageRank doesn't flow directly, there can be indirect benefits to the search engine ranking of a website that has a bunch of links to it from social media sites and activity. So the authority and trustworthiness of linking websites and social media properties is important and will become increasingly so. Search engines measure authority and trustworthiness in many ways. The author tag is increasingly going to be one of those ways. The author tag, and you might want to write this down or have questions about it, is very important. It's part of the new semantic web, if you haven't heard of it. There are other instances of the semantic web, also known as microformats, which we should probably discuss when it comes to discussion time. But these words, if nothing else you get here, just get that these words are really important for you. Keep an eye out for the author tag and microformats in the semantic web. Very important in search marketing and generally on the web. Again, the quantity and quality of social signals demands lots of expert time, and other marketing channels may have better ROI than social media marketing, including increasingly traditional marketing. As the cost of all the web marketing goes up, consider a radio ad. Their prices are coming down. Okay, Google Plus may become #1. Google Plus for both personal and businesses is high on Google's priority list and is getting tons of Google investment. By the way, in case you're getting bludgeoned by my droning on rapidly, just hold on for about another 6 or 7 minutes, and we'll be done, and we'll open it up to talk. Okay, some top social media mavens believe Google Plus will surpass Facebook within 5 years. Google owns search, so can promote Google Plus effectively. Google Plus already greatly increases click-through rates from a search engine results page to a website, and soon Google Plus usage will increase the ranking of websites. Again, the ranking of websites within a search engine results page. A third of the evolution of search engines entails fighting spam and the surplus of duplicate or very similar content, and Google Plus is a major weapon in this fight. All right, major trends, and this is just about our last slide, I believe. The major trends that you're going to be facing in this work of web marketing, of social marketing, of search marketing. First of all, solo-mo, again, social, local, mobile, continues rapid expansion. Google Glasses in the Minority Report. This is just reminding me that it's worth looking at some of those recaps of how Google Glasses works. These are glasses that you wear, and they record things. But more importantly, if you have these Google Glasses on, let's say you're walking down the subway in Manhattan and to the entrance to the subway, Google Glasses notices where you are. It says the subway and the street address of the subway station, and suddenly it tells you that that subway is temporarily broken down. Google automatically puts that information in your Google Glasses display. You see it by your eye. And then it says, well, maybe you want to wait a little bit, and Google knows that you frequent Starbucks, and there's a Starbucks a block away. And it gives you the walking directions right there to that business on your glasses. You don't have to do anything. That example can be multiplied in countless ways. It's like the movie The Minority Report, if you've seen that, and if not, it's worth seeing. There's so much. This is about the confluence of social, local, and mobile, and it's very important, and it will increasingly become so. Increasing sophistication in assessing the variety of online and offline parts of the conversion funnel, including social ROI, is another trend. There'll be increasing disparity between the haves and have-nots in web marketing because of the freakonomics of search. There will be increasing automation of web marketing. Imagine a website that automatically changes its design, text, even products and services in real time, automatically, as all relevant data is processed by specialized software. Things like this are starting to happen now. Search marketing will continue to become a standard part of business schools' curriculum. Specialization will continue to increase. There's so many subspecialties in my field. An emergent culture of loathing too big to fail may accelerate the trend of people seeking both within and outside of search engines smaller, socially connected businesses to fulfill their needs. Okay, a quick case history. I forgot we have a few minutes for this. I'm just going to tell you this case history and not put the slides up or the bullet points up. TheHomestore.com is local in Western Mass. You know, I am going to use the bullets. It's faster. And they've been a client of this for about 9 years. They've spent quite a bit of money with us over those 9 years. Before the housing crisis, a few years before, the smart PhD president diverted all marketing funds to web marketing, mostly to search marketing. He then dominated the search engines, becoming the envy of his peers. The housing market crash certainly hurt him, but less than it hurt other people. He continued to invest heavily in web marketing, knowing that competitors would not invest, and that many competitors would go out of business, leaving him on top of the rebound in the market. About 2 years ago, he got Disk's social media advice on his blog and within a year was voted the best blog in his industry. A big Google change hurt his search engine ranking and many other people's. Now, this is a lesson about putting too many eggs in one marketing basket. He's still doing well enough in search to justify the investment, but honestly, he could have and probably should have invested a little bit more in social media. We advised it, and we had plans for him. He did invest in the blog, which is kind of social media, and that certainly paid off. But there were other things he could have done that he didn't do, and you know, so much of his business depends, frankly, on his positions in Google. And while we did an amazing job and dominated, you know, we can't. No one in my field can guarantee domination all the time. Many people are investing steadily, many competitors, and one needs to diversify one's investments in web marketing. There's, you know, you know, I guess that's the lesson. You know, I don't think he wasted money, but I think he would have gotten more return on investment of his money, at least a little more, if he had diversified into more social media and into other things like conversion rate optimization and some other things I haven't even talked about here. All right, I'm not going to go over these resources, but these are just a few select resources which I think are really good. And here's how to contact me, and I think we're ready for Q&A and discussion. I will read the questions that have come in right now, if I can read them. So, Shalini, I guess you'll probably open it up to discussion.
Yes, I'm unmuting people. So, Shonda, can you, is your mic on?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Would you like to pose your question?
My first question is, Rob, you talked about how page rankings are affected by the number of sites that point to it, but I also thought I heard you say that the home page ranking trickles down to other pages within the site. What if you have a very active page, an interior page? How does that affect rankings?
What do you mean by active?
Meaning if you have a page that has something like a database. So, for instance, we'd have a page with a course list that students would go to all the time because they want to see what courses are available in the coming semester. So that would be a page that gets a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm. Well, active wouldn't directly increase that page rank factor. There is a little bit of a factor in ranking that Google can see when people have done a search and then gone to a certain page. It used to be that their toolbar, which is used less and less, but their toolbar, the Google toolbar that you can download and install in your browser, will keep track, not on a personal level, but an aggregate of where people are going on the web. So that could make that page rank better. The fact that it's being used more and Google knows that it's being used more. Mm-hmm. But that's independent of PageRank. PageRank is pretty much, well, for our purposes here, consider it 100% that it's simply a function of the quality and quantity of incoming links pointing to a given page, not activity.
So how do you get those external sites to link to yours?
Well, I do have a slide on that in the presentation, but basically that's one of the slides I blew past. But it's grass work. It's old-fashioned grassroots work, reaching out to appropriate, relevant, and hopefully valuable websites and saying, hey, would you link to me? I think I have something link-worthy. And maybe you exchange a link with them, or maybe not. But it's old-fashioned web marketing. I mean, kind of grassroots marketing. And there are many schemes for expediting getting a lot of links to you, and that is mostly what Google is battling when they battle spam. And when I mentioned these Panda and Penguin updates, that was one of them. Was very much about battling that quick, easy ways of getting incoming links. And a lot of businesses got hurt because they used these quick, easy ways, and then they were punished and demoted in Google search engine results. Link marketing is expensive and time-consuming. And some basically people say that the best way to do it is have such good content that people naturally link to you. And then, of course, if you have good content, all kinds of other good things happen too. It's good for users and so on. Some people will create a really interesting and useful tool that is helpful to a given industry. And then people tend to link to that. If they like it, they'll link to it on their website or their web page of resources. But I will say that these natural links, the natural link growth, it happens a lot less than it used to because people are too busy and for other reasons. But so I don't know, does that create more questions than it answers?
No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. I do see a question.
There's another question, I think from Randy. Randy, are you there? Okay, I can just ask the question. I just noticed it. It's on the chat outside of this, and I think he's asking about how SEO can help with blog marketing.
Well, actually, tremendously. I mean, blogs are a crucial part of SEO, search engine optimization. The search engines increasingly, they actually look for blogs, and they look for current blogs and active blogs. And if those blogs contain key phrases that your target market is searching for in the search engines, then the blog and the associated website are more likely to rank highly in the search engines. You do have to be careful. There are a lot of do's and don'ts with blogs. You want the blog to actually be part of your domain. I would not use like blogger.com. And there are technical aspects to blogs where I can get into a lot of detail here, but one example is that you have archives of articles. You have articles according to author and according to topic. That can create duplicate content, which dilutes that page rank. Remember that liquid gold? PageRank is like pouring liquid gold into the home page and it filters out. Well, if it filters into the blog in your domain, and that blog has lots of other duplicate content, then that page rank is diluted, and no one page in the blog is going to get a nice dose of that liquid gold. So there are some technical, and by the way, that rule applies equally to non-blog parts of web pages, of websites. Websites can have lots of ways to create duplicate content inadvertently. And one of the most demanding and important parts of search engine optimization, which falls under the CMS SEO that I described earlier, content management SEO, one of the most important parts of that is, in fact, dealing with this duplicate content issue, making sure that the page rank flows only to where you want it to flow and doesn't get diluted into a lot of junk and thin content pages and duplicate pages. But anyway, to recap, blogs are really important for SEO.
So can you give an example of what would be a duplicate content, like inadvertently?
Yes, well, the very obvious one is some people, this is too obvious almost, but some people have a page, a printable version of their page, and that's a different URL. So you have two URLs, same content. That's an obvious one. A little less obvious one, let's see if I can explain this one easy. It does get pretty involved. Well, a lot of content management systems will have sorting systems that enable you to click your way to an end product page via different paths. Let's say it's an e-commerce site selling a whole bunch of, I don't know, leather goods. And you can search, you can click by, you can click by, let's say, brown leather goods, and then from there click to wallets. So in that click path, the URL path can actually change, such that when you get to the brown wallet, its URL can be different if somebody clicked the path I just mentioned, as opposed to first clicking the category for wallets and then clicking brown for brown wallets. So the two paths go to the same place, but they can result in duplication for the search engines. Another example is directories. We have a client that had a directory of by the way, I find it distracting to look at myself while I'm talking, so I'm going to click one of you. I think that's why I keep looking away. There. This was a directory of therapists, and you could search. You could browse by type of therapy, by the location in the United States, by the type of insurance. There were all these ways you could browse, and they all led to different URLs when you finally arrived at one therapist. So they had massive duplicate content, and handling that is really difficult. Now, I did publish the Bellwether article on handling that, or at least understanding the tools by which to handle that, and it's on our website, disc2disc.com, and if you go to the media section, it's about PageRank sculpting. Those are some examples of duplicate content. There are many others. I could go on and on.
Right, so you have a blog that people can go and check out for more information and more details on these topics, I believe, right?
I do. I have a blog that goes into some detail, and whenever it's something that I've published, I've chosen to publish at Visibility Magazine because I actually believe in the old school thing that the purpose of media is to shut up 99% of the chatter and to leave behind the best. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening in the industry, but I still plant my flag on that idea. So I publish a lot in Visibility Magazine, and when I blog, I don't think it's fair for me to completely replicate the content that a publisher has published. So I will typically have a slightly different take on it on my blog, but I list all or most of the articles that I've published.
Okay.
And
that's a great.
Try to deliver value, to make it something that endures, not chatty blog stuff that'll be not worth much in a month, but stuff that endures. At least I try to publish that. The magazine itself is not great. No magazine is going to be in this day and age, but I still try to support them.
Right. Well, definitely, there'll be a link to your blog that if people want and other resources they can look at. I think one question I had was you mentioned 7 parts of the SEO, and for people with small budgets and small businesses, are there any out of those 7 pieces that people definitely should focus on before others?
Yes. The very first thing is the SEO technical audit, which is first on that list of 7. The next thing is CMS and database SEO. Those 2 things alone can often do wonders, and you can stop there. Obviously, the more one can afford, the better. So those are the very first 2 to answer the question. And then, the sky's the limit. I mean, the fact is that one can easily spend $100,000 in labor time on SEO, even for a small site, doing things which are really important, not just make work. And it is a matter of budget. To digress a little bit, I did some consulting, search marketing consulting for a startup that looked like they had a really good idea. They'd already put in several months of a lot of sweat equity, a team of about 6 people, and then they came to us for search marketing. And I took a look at the situation and decided that, given the amount that you make per class, they were teaching classes in a specialized area, and given the number of searches that are being done relevant to these classes, and given the amount of work that it's going to take, they needed more than those first two things I mentioned. They needed keyword research and SEO copywriting. If you added all that up, that math, it turned out that the whole business venture wasn't worth it. And you can ascertain this stuff with a fair amount of certainty with some research. You can actually say, you know what, this business idea really has great prospects. You can find that out in a couple of $1,000s worth of professional work, such as firms like mine can do. Or you can find out, as was happened in this case, that guess what? You people just wasted 6 months of your lives, each of you. And they disbanded the business. But it was better than them wasting another 6 months. The fact that when you get, as I said, with this freakonomics of search marketing, ever larger small businesses are excluded from doing search engine optimization and marketing sufficiently well to make it profitable. That's just a fact. Now, that makes many people flee to social media. But if you ignore the extreme examples of something going viral and somebody getting rich, that's way out on the bell curve. If you ignore that and you take the total amount of social media time spent by pretty competent people and value that time at $50 an hour, 100, whatever, and then factor that into the amount of returns on that invested time, on average, you'll find, I think, that social media is not paying off. It will pay off, and if done really intelligently, it will pay off. But that means you've got to find somebody who's much better than average. And that's a tall order. And that person, if they're that good, is going to end up being bought out, paid more, and swept away. And you're going to be left with lots of people who want to give you their business. I know social media. I had a Facebook page in college. Give me $100. But it may not do well. I guess I'm digressing from the general point that if you really look at the economics, the microeconomics of what's going on in search marketing and in web marketing generally, it's not pretty for small business. It just isn't. And I wish I could tell you otherwise. And I've started a whole second business to help small businesses, more out of my heart than to make much money. Because I know I can't be honest and sell my main business's services. You know, they have to have at least $5,000 to do anything, and most small businesses won't do that. So anyway, I'm digressing. Any other questions?
I'm wondering what your approach was for increasing the home store's rankings so significantly.
Oh God, you know, it's everything in the toolbox. In the early days, like 8-9 years ago, we did the old-fashioned, we used keyword research tools, which worked pretty good back then, to ascertain exactly what phrases people are searching for. And remember, there's a lot of variations. If people could be looking for modular homes in Massachusetts, Massachusetts modular homes, Massachusetts prefabricated homes, prefab homes in New England. Think of the endless varieties. Well, keyword research tools would find among the thousands of synonymous phrases those which are searched for the most and preferably have the least competition. So if you use those phrases in the website text, just the text that people read, then that website will more likely rank highly in the search engines. And that's what we did. That was the primary thing we did in the beginning. Obviously, we took care of any SEO technical matters and CMS SEO matters. That was a given because they were working with us in the beginning, or we took over their site. And that was a huge part of it. Another part of it, which may be relevant to the Commonwealth College, is that they did have some database content, a database of floor plans. Now, there are many easy ways, relatively easy ways, even back then, to use systems to display and search for and filter and winnow down floor plans according to style and number of rooms, number of bathrooms. That could have been done pretty inexpensively, but all the inexpensive ways blocked search engines. So we made sure to have them invest a little more in a sorting system that the search engines could actually get into, and so that all the many floor plans that he had to offer could be spidered by Google. And that was a huge boom. He was #1 in Google and other search engines for modular home floor plans for a long time. I think he's still in the top 4. So that was huge. That's an example of again, where specialized knowledge is so important. You know, it's not a big company. I mean, it used to be bigger, certainly. I don't know, maybe it had 40 employees, probably down to 10 now, but staying profitable. The point is that for a small company like that, for them to stomach paying a lot more for a custom system that integrates with the search engines is not going to happen very often. Most small businesses aren't going to make that decision. Now, this guy has got a PhD, he's super smart, he knew enough to know, and he trusted us, and he knew enough to know they had to do this, and it worked. But that's the exception to the rule. Most people would not pay for that, and thus the slightly bigger company that does pay for it dominates, and that's what's happening constantly. Bigger companies are dominating because they can afford to get into that top 10, and it's still only top 10 no matter what happens. Or top 20, you know, but you get the idea. Top 10 results. Oh, there's so much more we did. You know, there's obviously we did tons of pay-per-click as well. That was very productive because with pay-per-click, you can engineer it that the ad comes up only when the search is highly relevant and the searcher is tremendously pre-qualified. Yeah, so we did a lot of that, and a lot of other things. But does that kind of give you a sense, or do you want me to go into more detail?
No, that's good. Thank you.
I think I would just like to add something that when I was starting my consulting business locally in Amherst, and I did not know much about search engine optimization. I had a Drupal website, so I guess the content management system is pretty stable. But I definitely just worked with social media, and I was using Facebook, and it was sort of synergistic with my active marketing activities. If I'm running a women's group, I created a Facebook group for them, and the content I was going to share with them was going as a blog, and then we would have the workshop, come back, and discuss things in the group. So there was a lot of synergy created that way, and I know there was a time where, if at least locally, if people looked for marketing consultant Amherst or social media consultant Amherst, I was definitely showing up on the first, page. So I feel there is still hope for social media if people can't totally afford everything that you're saying. Then social media sort of helps in the search engine optimization to some degree.
Yeah,
do you agree? Or
I mean, and you're very qualified, and you may have done things, you may have been far out on that bell curve. I guess what I'm saying is that you can't expect every small business to find a PhD to hire, and also the side note is when you did a search for yourself, how Google search results are highly personalized. The fact that you did so much work and searching and so on from your browser, Google may have known that and shown your results higher than they did to other people.
No, and I do that. It's always a good point for everyone to remember, if you're searching yourself, remember to sign out of all Google accounts. So I would definitely do that, and I will also do it using other people's browsers.
Right.
So to avoid Google knowing, because Google tracks what we're most interested in, and they know me, I'm interested in me, so they will show me up as a higher result. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and even if you sign out, they can still know by cookies.
And other people's.
The acid test is Google Analytics, or some analytics package that actually shows you how many people are coming from the search engines to your site, and then hopefully you track that to ascertain that the people coming to the site are doing what you want them to do. Right. That's really the acid test. I will say that there are problems now with using Google Analytics, which I can't go into the details, but Um, so I'm starting to go back, or the industry is starting to go back to a little more position checking, but when you check your positions of your website in the search engines, you really have to use software that does a lot of testing from around the country or the world and does other techniques to give you a pretty good average, averages out a lot of searches from a lot of variables and places, and then you kind of find out where you're ranking. That's not very costly to do, and it's something I'd recommend.
Well, that sounds amazing, yeah.
You know, personal searches, I mean, everyone does it. They can't help it, especially business owners. They do a search, and you can't help resist doing it, but it is not statistically valid, and therefore it is not a basis for sound decisions on future investments in marketing.
Sure, sure. And I think it's just like finding that balance between using Google Analytics, which is really important, and also just seeing there are very unusual ways that I have found social media to work. You know, just because I'm there on the website, you know, I've been invited to TEDx talks and to talk about mindfulness in business, or a company in Sweden found my SlideShare and and reached out to me on LinkedIn. So even though analytics may not show all of that, but so it's just I feel like we need that balance of data, yes, and learning or hiring people like yourself to do that professionally and get the best out of all the work that we're doing, and at the same time also just sort of reflect on what's working personally. Where am I getting my contacts? Am I better off spending time on Facebook and increasing my cloud score, or am I better served staying in LinkedIn? And maybe that's not affecting my cloud score, but it's certainly helping me connect with people who are likely to hire me. So it's just kind of, and there's just so much you've presented to us today, and a lot to think about, I think. We're almost at about that time, so maybe you can just tell us briefly how people can find you if they have more questions, or if they want to hire you, or any of those things, how to reach you.
Sure. Well, it's twodisk.com. I guess I could go to my screen share and leave you with that. Hold on. One second. Yeah.
Well,
did that screen come up?
Yes. Yes.
So that's got. If you just go to twodisk.com, that would be the single best place to go. Truthfully, I don't do much search marketing myself. Why? I mean, actually, we don't do search marketing for ourselves, but we also don't do social media. And the reason for that is quite simply that I didn't have to. I'll never make a business pay $1 more than they have to. And I didn't have to, because for years I got into this business early. So honestly, I need to do more. But meanwhile, it makes it very simple to get in touch with me. Just go to twodisk.com. This is also this seminar is at the longer URL there is published there. Looks like I got cut off.
Oh, did you? Oh no, I mean on my screen you're still on my screen you're still showing, but I was just going to end with this screen so people can.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. I didn't see that. I thought the window went away.
Yeah. So no, I think you've just given us so much to think about with respect to SEO and the different steps and different pieces that are important. And I look forward to an ongoing exchange with you. And I hope the students are able to reach out and continue their learning and process with you. So thank you so much.